All right, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 12 of Be With Me in the book of Ephesians. We're finishing chapter 2 today. I'm going to title today, Dwelling Place for God. So we're going to explore what is the dwelling place of God. And it is a temple. It's an organization that's made up of bricks in which He indwells. So we're going to start with yesterday. Yesterday we found out that Jesus was a killer. That is, He killed the hostility between you and God. Remember, we were separated, alienated, strangers, without hope. But then there's this but in the story. But now Christ. And He has to utilize a violent, sacrificial, bloody, scourging, torturous crucifixion. Why? To make sure that you know that your secret sin can be covered, that there's a proportional response to the grievousness of your transgression, and make sure that you know that the penalty is paid. Therefore, if we make Jesus our killer of the hostility between us and God, then we enjoy some positional benefits. And that's what we get to today at the end of chapter 2 of the book of Ephesians. I'm going to start with verse 17. And He came and preached peace to you who were far off, and peace to those who were near. For through Him we have access in one Spirit to the Father. So then you're no longer strangers and aliens, but you are fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God, built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Christ Jesus Himself being the cornerstone, in whom the whole structure, being joined together, grows into a holy temple in the Lord. In Him you also are being built together into a dwelling place for God by the Spirit. So let's list some of those benefits. Verse 17, we have peace to those who are far off and peace to those who are near. Verse 18, through Him, Jesus, we have access in the Spirit, because the Spirit comes when we receive Jesus, to the Father. So we get this roadmap, this access point. Verse 19, we find out that we end up being not strangers, but citizens, and not alone. We're with the saints, and we're not aliens, but we get to be members of the household. And in verse 20, we find out it's a household with a history. It's built on the apostles, so that refers to the leaders in the New Testament, and the prophets, who were God's mouthpieces in the Old Testament. And all along, Christ is the cornerstone, both of the New Testament and the Old Testament. And then there's this concept about place, and this is something I want to dwell on a little bit here today, that God is in a place. He's in the soul, He's in the heart of believers. And then when we gather multiple believers together, out of a multiplicity of individual believers, He's building a representation of Himself in the world. That is a divine dwelling. Verse 20, then there's this unity theme that these individual believers get joined together and can make a holy temple of interest. It's a growing temple, so it's a dynamic structure. And you also are being built together into a dwelling place for God. So where this is all heading today seems to me to be a dwelling place for God. The dwelling place for God then is made up of and the joining of souls in which He dwells. God's dwelling place is constructed of bricks in which He indwells. I'm going to say that again. God's dwelling place is constructed of bricks in which He indwells. So God's temple is made up of people in whom He tabernacles. So this podcast, Be With Me, the idea is primarily is God being in you, spending time with God, having an individual revelation of God through His Word, and the encouragement maybe of a podcast. But then, if we gather together, we can have this special place, a special reality, which is His church. It's his temple. So I hope you can see, and I hope you do see, this special place, the church. It's special. It's functioning. It's a gifted place. There you see people are working hard. You see spiritual revelation happening in preaching. You find the world being served, and you see the church itself being served and self-cared for. It's a very special place. Here, ladies and gentlemen, it's called the church. And in it, you're going to see miracles of service. You're going to see the spark of discovery. You're going to see the bearing of burdens, the freshening wind of evangelism, the growth of discipleship, the exhortation of truth, the patience and long-suffering with weaker brothers. You're going to see the joy of walking with the Spirit. I guess my charge today is get thee to a church. Get to see, I want you to see the support of other bricks. They need you, and guess what? You need them. And there's many forces that are driving the church apart. COVID comes to mind prominently. Illnesses, individual illnesses, kidney stones, grief, wounds from the church, from without, and wounds from within. The whole concept of watching online. Then there's the shame of sin. Fear of being exposed, I suppose. How about the one valid excuse of not going to church? That is death, your death. That is, you go to the other dwelling place for God. You go to the other group of citizens, and that kingdom. Let's let that be our only excuse. I've seen people sick and injured just almost crawl into the church, desperate for it. Let's be desperate for the church. Let's be desperate for the dwelling place for God. It is a temple. It is a construct. It's a building made up of people in whom he indwells. Let's be desperate for the dwelling place of God. Thanks for listening. See you in church.